The fascinating history about North Carolina is that we were a state not well positioned at all for the new economy coming out of the Second World War. We were ranked 49th out of the 50 states in per capita income. We had a strong agricultural base, a strong furniture base, a strong textile base. But many business leaders in the state were deeply concerned that we were not going to be a state that could compete in the new economy, any of the new materials, science and technology coming after the Second World War. And so it was out of that sense of concern and a belief that we needed to do something big and significant in North Carolina that they began to ask themselves, well, what would that look like? It really became a case of focusing on the one thing we knew we had. Well, we knew we had good people in North Carolina. We knew we had bright, talented, energetic people that could work hard. And we knew that we were a state that was very determined. But we didn't have a lot of resources. We had agriculture, but we weren't a particularly strong agricultural state in the sense that of the Midwest, say for instance. We had good crops, tobacco, and we had furniture and we had textiles. But as far as positioning for new economic growth beyond our strengths in agriculture and the other things was really our university system. It really was the one thing we knew we had that could distinguish us. And the fact that we had 3 good universities within close proximity really helped make that happen. The Research Triangle is a region. We think of Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill as the Research Triangle region, but the Research Triangle Park is really the heart and soul of that region. It sits in between, in the center of the triangle, between these 3 key cities, and was founded back in the 1950s out of a state of desperation in North Carolina. We were in a state of great economic crisis, and the one true asset we had was our education system and 3 good universities. So that's where the park was envisioned to be, in the middle. And over the last 50 years, as the Research Triangle Park has grown in prominence and reputation, the region has sort of adopted the name. So now it's known more broadly as the Research Triangle region. When you think about what Research Triangle Park is, well, it's a physical place. It's today a 7,000-acre park that sits in the middle of these universities. It is a place that obviously has created jobs and improved the quality of life for our state. It's also produced a number of inventions and technologies that most of folks have heard of. I mean, the digital cellular telephone was developed in Research Triangle Park, AstroTurf, drugs for cancer and AIDS, some of the most significant drugs were developed in the park. The barcode and the bar scanner, which we use every day, was developed in Research Triangle Park. We are here at Centennial Campus, which is distinct in its own right because it is one of the largest university research parks certainly in North America, if not the world, at over 1,000 acres. Centennial Campus was created in part because of the success of Research Triangle Park, but it took it a step further. Whereas Research Triangle Park brought in large corporate research centers, largely that were self-contained, separated from each other. But it was the belief here at Centennial Campus that they could create a much more dense and urban environment. And so when you visit Centennial Campus, you have university and industry partners directly across from common courtyards or in common buildings. It's a much more collaborative spirit on a day-to-day basis than you might find at Research Triangle Park. I think that the park historically for us, it is probably the most significant economic event in our state's history. It no doubt changed the economic course for the state. It influenced our politics and our political leaders. It changed the destiny of so many young people in North Carolina. And so For them, it changed their perspective. It changed how they saw themselves. I don't know that there's anything more important in history than events that have an ongoing ripple effect, the way that a project like RTP does. It continues to live on in people's minds. It continues to have a relevance in their life far beyond 7,000 acres or 170 companies. It truly is about our character and how we see ourselves.